Businesses are feeling the squeeze. This means more pain for the middle class. So if you are working middle class, um, particularly in industry like retail, grocery store chains, um, pay attention because we've discussed Walmart, we've discussed Home Depot, we've discussed Target, we've discussed some fast food restaurants. There's a growing trend that is occurring across many different businesses across the country that are ultimately going to put a lot of folks at risk. Okay, this is a report from a couple weeks ago, but this report about store closure, permanent store closure, is a really important warning sign of what businesses are experiencing, what we're to expect before we see the possibility of millions and millions of Americans being evicted, millions and millions of Americans losing their job. Jerome Powell and the Fed just announced in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, that is a warning shot. Is a huge mic drop that we should expect pain in bridging this gap, so to speak, between supply and demand and fighting inflation. Expect pain, and this is exactly what this pain looks like. And this pain is going to take other shapes and forms, but I want you guys to be aware. It says that Des Moines, Iowa shoppers will have one less grocery store and an overall reduction in food in the metro after the Price Chopper store location on Merle Hay Road closes September 18th. Now, get this. DGS Acquisitions, the company that operates Iowa's Price Chopper locations, announced Wednesday, or at the time of this article, it was Wednesday, that the location at 4343 Merrill Hay Road in Des Moines will close permanently. Now, this is of concern. You have a grocery store close, that is of concern. You have a major anchor. Typically, grocery stores are anchors. If you ever look at a shopping center or anything like that, grocery stores are the anchor. You have a major anchor close, it destroys the shopping center. It destroys the city. It destroys the town, the area that it's in. And, years ago, that occurred. Probably not that big a deal. Another grocery store would come in, take the space, and then, keep it moving. But the odds that we would likely see another grocery store, or any business for that matter, want to occupy this space in the near future after they close permanently is probably a slim chance. So now you're going to have a vacant building and all that attracts, while also reducing your availability and convenience of being able to shop there for your groceries, your food. Now you're going to have to travel and or choose a different supplier. But it says that another Price Chopper location in Johnston closed in 2020, citing increased competition and nearby construction that hurt the viability of the store. And what businesses oftentimes don't realize is that there are components, there are factors, there are variables out there that are beyond your control that can actually suffocate your business, forcing you out of business, forcing you in the hole, forcing you to close and shut down. Ultimately, your business can get wiped out, not by competition, but for instance, let's just say you have a business and for some reason there's a road closure and there's a detour that takes all the normal traffic, normal drive-by traffic that you would have away from your store, and your normal customers don't feel like going through all of that to get to you. These are things that happen out of a business's control that can ultimately hurt the business, force it to close, and force people to lose their jobs. This statement says that nearby construction, and this was 2020, nearby construction, increased competition and nearby construction hurt the viability of the store. So the company closed down because they closed the store because it's not profitable. It's not making them money. So they got rid of it. And it says in a statement was released that said, while we are saddened to close this Price Chopper location, the current lease term is expiring, and the challenges of operating this store have negatively impacted the viability of the store. And this was from the DGS Acquisitions General Manager Tim Davis. And it says that we would like to thank our employees for their dedication to this store and their service to this community. But at the end of the day, they got to close. And that's where businesses are going these days. Higher costs across the board, increase. We talk about rent prices going up. We talk about real estate prices. And depending on the market, those are either falling or have appreciated tremendously. But also businesses saw the same increases. These companies and these businesses that operate these grocery stores and different companies like that, they don't necessarily own the building that they're operating out of. It's a lease. And as the values around them increase, when those leases have to be renewed, the landlords, the property managers typically look at the market and say, we're going to increase your lease payment, your rent, also in line with the market, in tune with the market. They don't want to lose money, so to speak, of what's possibly out there, so they raise it. In a situation like this, maybe it's a little bit, maybe they cut off their nose despite their face, because now they've lost the tenant completely. But also there's some things that are out of their control, whereas they have maybe experienced some increased property taxes and other things that just forced them to raise their rent and their lease payment. But it says the store will remain open through the liquidation process with a sale through September 18th. But this is of growing concern for job loss. All those employees are out of a job. Every other company, every other supply chain connected to this grocery store after September 18th, they're not going to have that job anymore. They're not going to have that route. They're not going to have that run. They're not going to have that. And also, we're going to see an increase in demand on limited supply. And what will happen is we'll see an increase in demand because all those shoppers of that store previously are now going to have to go to other stores. So those other stores are going to pick up new shoppers, increase demand. But those other stores probably aren't going to necessarily increase their supply, nor could they if they're full. If the stores are full, they can't necessarily increase their supply because they don't have any space for it. So then they could potentially look to increase their delivery, the shipments that they receive, but then do they have the budget for it to increase the employees' hours to manage these additional deliveries? And businesses are feeling the squeeze and being forced to make these tough decisions to pretty much lay everybody off and shut their doors for good. And if you're a business owner, if you're a small business owner, and you're possibly faced with these challenges, these are some things you need to be paying attention to, especially from other industries, other businesses, and seeing what's affecting them and how you could have some negative and adverse consequences affecting your business as a result. But this is just going to play into more people. Like, you think about all the employees. Think about all the employees from this grocery store that's now closing. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Where are they going to work? If they all decided to go to another grocery store, I'm sure that the openings don't necessarily exist. But even if they did, is the pay the same? Is the position still the same? The position available? Will these other grocery stores pay the same that the one you came from was paying you, so that you can continue to pay your bills without interruption? And granted, this is just one store in Iowa, but it's a sign of how businesses face struggles and how more and more businesses are expected to face struggles. Jerome Powell said it himself. He said it himself. Check out the video I just put up before this one. He said it himself. These businesses are going to be struggling. Families are going to be struggling. We are going to experience some pain, or at least some of us are. I don't know if he's going to experience any real pain, but he said pain will be experienced. Pain is expected. And, I think that these guys, I don't even know what they're thinking. I mean, we talked about that on the live stream today. They're spending so much money supporting and propping up other countries, and they're doing so little for us here besides telling us that there will be pain. And, think about when last another country did anything for us. We continuously dole out money, handouts, the money that's being spent, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars to other countries, other nations to help them. Meanwhile, here, what do? They tell us that we're going to experience pain.